Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Long time no see. Not much action going on right now. I didn't bet any of the early MLB games. I said I like the Braves and the Padres. Braves got killed. Padres won. So had I bet the other games, I'd be 1-1 right now. Doesn't matter because I didn't. Obviously, this is not going to be one of those a ton of people in it. We're talking about football previews, so this is going to be viewed over the next month. So this isn't immediate information, but let's go through some football. We'll start with the Tennessee Titans. And by the way, this is the first time that we're all recording in the same room, which is why I'm able to do it without headphones. So hopefully the audio we got allows us to do that. I think we'll be good, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. We're talking Tennessee Titans. Now, I think the consensus across NFL fans would be in the AFC, you got two teams at the bottom. Patriots are rock bottom. Titans are a close second. I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying that's how I feel. I'm not saying that's how you feel, Rob Beaver. I'm just saying I think if you surveyed 1,000 NFL fans, that's the answer you're going to get. Would you agree with that?
No. I mean, I think people still look at the Raiders and the Broncos and the Patriots as much more close to the bottom than the Tennessee Titans. I think people are going to look at the talent on the Titans roster and disagree with you in that regard. I mean, if you look at the people that they brought in the season, let me go to that slide specifically. Let's look at that. They brought in Tony Pollard. I know he didn't have the best season last year for those fantasy owners, but he's a very good running back before that, especially when he's not the lead back. Well, he's not going to be the lead back. In fact, he was listed as the co-starter the other day, so he's going to be splitting that backfield with Tyjae Spears. So I actually like that. If he's not the workhorse, maybe less tread on those tires, and he should be more effective this season. So I like that. They also brought in Calvin Ridley, another one who was kind of coming off of a disappointing season, but I don't exactly love how Jacksonville used him last year. I feel like they just pretty much sent him deep and were like, fuck it, just go out there and we're just going to chug it deep to you. That was moronic. I feel like the Titans are going to use him in a bit more of a diverse way. And if they're able to use him in that diverse way and use him correctly, and also have DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Boyd, and people are forgetting about this, but Treylon Burks is the fourth receiver on this offense. They have some real talent on this offense here. And we're not even talking about the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, people... The sound is moving in and out here.
For
me.
I was listening to the thing. I think I know how to fix that, by the way. It's only Prop Beaver's mic, but they can hear you, though. They can hear you. It's just not crystal clear.
Okay.
So I actually
make it crystal clear. So I guess I'll talk directly.
I have to switch your mic type.
Like this.
I have to switch your mic type from a condenser to whatever. I know how to fix it.
Right. So I actually talk directly into this hub.
I like what you said about Calvin Ridley, because I feel like when the usage rate was there in Jacksonville, he looked really good, almost uncoverable at times. So, okay, I'll give you that. Also, L'Jarius Sneed, I'll give you that. They definitely added talent. I also like what you said about Tony Pollard. I like all that. But I feel like you can't overlook the fact that we're talking about a coaching overhaul and a young, unproven quarterback. It's tough. It's a tough sell.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two most important things. A lot of times, the things you just described, they work in the negative. And as long as you got the coaching staff back and the quarterback, those things work themselves out. So I think the two most important aspects of the game, the coaching and the quarterback, are such question marks, which I know is going to be a very square take as far as everyone's going to say the same thing, but also I think there's truth to it.
Yeah, and this question mark is not going to be one that I could answer for any of you guys here, because Brian Callahan, we have no history of him as a play caller. The Bengals offense has obviously been pretty good when Joe Burrow has been on the field over the last 3 years. But guess what? He's not called the plays in any of those seasons. So he's going to be calling the plays for the Tennessee Titans this season. But We have no idea what to really expect here. But something I do expect is for this offense to lean on the pass a bit more. That is something that Callahan has explicitly said. So if you like Will Levis, if you don't like Will Levis, that is something that you should keep in mind. So if you don't like Will Levis, maybe that makes you lean towards that under more. If you like Will Levis, maybe that makes you lean more than that over. Now, one thing I do want to bring up is Will Levis's clean and under pressure numbers. Let me go and try and
Well, actually, that's a perfect segue because I actually wanted to talk about that also. Tennessee. Now, the addition they made to the offensive line, I'm seeing the center. Is there anything else I'm missing?
Yes, the left tackle or the right tackle, I believe, J.C. Latham, they drafted.
Okay. Oh, yeah. First round, 7th overall pick. Good point. Okay. So they add the first round pick at tackle. And they add
Fishenberry, the center.
I said the center.
Oh, yes.
I knew the center. And they add the tackle. Okay. So maybe a slight upgrade. But we're talking about this offensive line, 31st in adjusted sack rate, 24th in pass block grade. And talking about Will Levis, a guy that has a really shitty pressure to sack rate. So a dude that did not handle pressure. You know what? Go ahead and talk about the numbers you were about to talk to because I'm looking at them here and they're terrible.
Oh, absolutely awful. As you can see, when pressured, really, really bad last year. He's not good at avoiding sacks either. As you can see, pressure to sack rate, one of the worst in the NFL. So AJ, why are you high on this team? Why do you have any bit of hope for them? Well, let's go back to that coaching staff graphic real quick. Let me try and get that up. You want to know who Brian Callahan's dad is? Bill Callahan, the legendary O-lineman coach Bill Callahan. He's leaving the Cleveland Browns and he's coming over to Tennessee. Bill Callahan has had a pretty good history of taking some really shitty O-lines and making them quite goddamn good. Now, does it always happen overnight? No, but he has had some cases where he's made really bad O-lines pretty damn good. In this scenario, am I seeing a dramatic transformation? No. If we could go from bottom 3 to bottom 12, that is some sizable improvement right there. That could give Will Levis some time, some breath, and he could find a guy like a Calvin Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins. On top of that, you have to realize who Will Levis was really working with last year. It was really DeAndre Hopkins or bust. Now he has Calvin Ridley. He has Tyler Boyd to add into that mix. So I don't know. I really think that we need to give Will Levis a bit more of a shot here. The Titans play caller last year, Tim Kelly, quite frankly, was awful. So yeah, the Titans offense intrigues me, but I think we need to flip to the other side of the ball because that's where I think this Titans team is actually getting me to the over, shockingly enough.
Okay, so you want to talk about the defense. All right. So we got L'Jarius Sneed joining the team, which is one of those corners that could really change things. I mean, I don't think one corner is enough, but you also add Cheeto Wuzier. So two new pieces at corner for the Titans, which is huge. If I remember correctly, the Titans, here it is right here, the Titans home away splits defensively at home. And this is, I remember me and Prop Beaver were talking about this in the 2022-2023 season. So this is like multiple years now where the Titans defense, for whatever reason, at home in Tennessee, 3.9 yards per carry allowed, which is 6th in the NFL, 19th in EPA, 29th in DVOA. So maybe they had a bit of an easier schedule at home. But look at their pass defense. Actually, I'm looking at the pass run defense, by the way, on the road. So you might have had the wrong graphic up. But their pass defense on the road, one of the worst in football, 31st in EPA, 29th in DVOA, 30th in EPA pass defense overall as well. So this is a really weak team against the pass last year. Pass rush, they actually were 5th in adjusted sack rate, but 20th pass rush grade. Again, part of that goes to playing in the AFC South and playing a last place schedule. So are two corners enough to just shift it? I mean, we're talking about another new coordinator here. So how much does this shift with two new corners?
Yeah, I think it shifts it quite a bit. Have you seen what the Titans have rolled out there at corner the past 2 seasons? Christian Fulton, and I forget the other corner. It has been absolutely dreadful. What they have been rolling out there at corner. So yeah, I think the Titans have actually had the foundations of a pretty great defense the past 2 or 3 seasons now. But when your corners are going out there and just getting beat up on by every single wide receiver that lines up across from them, yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to have any pretty reputable defense. So yeah, I really like the acquisition of not only L'Jarius Sneed but Awuzie. And what I like about what the defensive coordinator is doing this year, I was reading a article, is they want to play a lot of press coverage. They really want to get up on you, and they just want to play man 1-to-1. And that's what I like what they did with L'Jarius Sneed, because we're looking at games like the Jets, right? We're going to get into the schedule, but week 2, you can see right there, week 2 at home against the Jets. A lot of people are looking at that game and they're like, there's no way the Titans could beat the Jets here. Well, you're going to have Chidobe Awuzie on Mike Williams, 1-on-1 press coverage. Mike Williams is coming off a knee injury. Then you got on the other side, L'Jarius Sneed, arguably the number 1 press corner in all of football on Garrett Wilson, 1-on-1. And the Jets defense isn't as good on the road. So now you have this defense that can play press quite damn well against number 1 corners. In matchups like these, you're putting yourself in situations to win those games. So I don't know. I just feel like this defense, you wouldn't think of it when you're getting a lockdown corner like L'Jarius Sneed, but I think it really does make that big of an impact. I think L'Jarius Sneed is that good. And on top of that, I do think that Chidobe Awuzie is due for a bounce back, because he showed flashes last year. He was still pretty damn good. And guess what? That was coming off of an ACL. Now this is going to be his second year off of an ACL. The second year off of an ACL is always when the guy's most effective. Breece Hall, I think he could be one of the greatest fantasy picks of all time this season, coming off of that ACL, second year off an ACL. That's when you see guys really perform up to their potential.
And I kind of like what you just said there with those 2 corners up in man coverage. Now, are you assuming they're going to be in man coverage because of those corners' history, or did you look at Denard Wilson, the defensive coordinator's history?
That was a quote from Denard Wilson.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So to add on to that, all right, they're going to be playing a lot of man coverage with 2 elite corners. I mean, you think you would want to do that with those 2 corners. I mean, this is a top 5 run defense for multiple years. In fact, 2 years ago was the best run defense in football. No one really goes into Tennessee and runs the ball. So in that particular example you gave, week 2 against the Jets in Tennessee, you press those 2 receivers and take away Breece Hall. Yeah, I mean, who's going to beat him? Tyler Conklin over the middle? I mean...
Yeah, and I mean, you still have Jeffrey Simmons, who's causing havoc in the middle. You still have a pretty decent pass rush. You drafted Devontae Sweat in the middle right there.
They also added
the second round.
They also added Joseph Day.
Yes, I like Sebastian Joseph Day a lot as well. So I think that this Titans defense is really being slept on going into this year. I keep hearing people, even people who I highly respect, like fantasy analysts, being like, oh, well, the Titans could be in a lot of shootouts this year because that defense is so bad. Are we like not paying attention to who they got in the offseason? So, yeah, if you still are down on Levis, I could totally see being on the under for this team. And we're going to look at the schedule. It's not exactly the easiest either. But yeah.
So wait, who do you like? So obviously we know that Simmons can create pressure from the interior. He usually is in the 3 shade to the 5 shade. But who's on the edge here for because what you just described, like who's getting to the quarterback? Harold Landry, you like?
Let me go and look at the edge here. Well, I do like Arden Key. Arden Key has been pretty solid for a couple teams now. Jeffrey Simmons always creates good pressure from the interior. Harold Landry's been pretty good at creating pressure. Yeah, I mean, just pretty much those guys you need right there. If anything is a concern for me, it'd be Jamal Adams at strong safety, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I honestly, like...
I would have rather had Elijah Molden.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the schedule, Andy, do you have any thoughts on I know Andy's here to talk college football, but he was just sitting here, so we were like, want to come on?
Yeah, my thoughts are pretty general. I'm not a huge Will Levis guy. I wasn't a huge fan of him in college or Kentucky either, but so putting all your faith in him is pretty scary to me, but probably kind of sold me on the defense. I didn't know much about their defense. He kind of sold me pretty well there. He does a good job of going through defenses, so I think this is a team where if their defense has to carry him, I think that'll help, but I don't know if Will Levis is going to do much to help them.
I also really like what Doug Lane said. Thank you, Doug. If they play press man, then I think that kind of makes up for the lack of big name edge rushers. So the better press man coverage they play, that gives the edge rushers more time to get to the quarterback. So Yeah.
I like how someone says, when does Winky get to talk? By the way, Prop Beaver's producing the show, and he put his name up as Winky. No one calls Andy Winky. All right,
so
let's talk
that schedule up.
Let's talk Titans schedule. And honestly, I will say,
somebody commented week 1 they're underdogs against Chicago, and that's embarrassing. That might be a bit of an oversight.
They're on the road.
They're on the road in Chicago.
Yeah.
The hype's going to be crazy for Chicago in that game.
Is it crazy to think that Caleb Williams struggles his first game as an NFL pro? And I don't think. Look, I'm not saying the Titans are going to beat the Bears in week 1, but I'm saying there are crazier things that can happen in the NFL than the Bears lose week 1 with a rookie quarterback. In fact, what is we were talking about this last year. What is the number 1 overall picks record in week 1 as a starter? I don't think it's good, right?
Not great.
We know last year's didn't start week 1.
Yeah, I remember talking about this at one point, but I forgot. I think it was first round pick quarterbacks that start week 1 have a terrible record, but I'm speculating because I don't remember the numbers offhand. You know what? When we do the edit and upload this, we'll put it on the screen or something. So maybe it's significant. All right, Titans schedule. Let's call week 1 in Chicago a loss. How about they steal one of the Jets-Packers games?
I think they do. I mean,
how about this? Let's give them 1-3 after week 4 because they're getting smoked in Miami.
Yeah.
1-3 after week 4. Home against the Colts? Dude, that's got to be a win, right?
I think they beat them.
2-3. At Buffalo, loss. At Detroit, loss. Home New England, that could be a win.
I think they beat New England.
That's 3-5. At Chargers, probably a loss, but winnable.
Very winnable.
We'll say 3-6. Home in Minnesota, that's winnable. 4-6. At Houston, loss. At Washington, what the fuck?
So I don't know if I'm going to give the Washington Commanders a win.
I don't think that's a
winnable game. We'll put it at maybe 5 wins right now. Home Jacksonville, probably a loss. Home Cincinnati, probably a loss. Away Colts, probably a loss.
I think they could steal.
Dude, they're gonna lose.
Right?
They could lose.
I'm between 6 or 7, so I'm going with my over.
I'm between 5 and 6, though.
Okay,
I'd probably say
you're
over.
under.
Yeah, put me up as under, but I think they could land on 6, though. In to your credit of saying they won't be as bad as people think, I think they could land on 6.
I'd say over as well.
Well, I think some people are thinking that the Patriots and Titans are going to win 3 games this year.
I think you really, really don't like the Titans. I don't know if other people are that down on the Titans.
6 games.
Yeah, but you're the guy who thinks they're going to win like 3 games. I don't think
I
anybody
just
else
said
thinks
I
that.
have them at 6. How am I the guy that said they're going to win? I just said I have them at 6. I just said it.
Yeah, but
You
you
just
had
said
to. You had to like. And to I don't
to
know.
pull it
Felt
out
like
of you.
pulling nails to get there.
They won 6 last year. I think they can win 6 again.
All right.
Andy?
That was with Reeves.
Winky?
I said over as well. I think they could steal one of those last
Over?
3 games to get
You
there.
guys are both taking the plus money over?
I don't think they're going to be that bad.
The Colts are going 0-8 to start the year, so
Exactly.
Our poll is split 66 votes, pretty much dead even over and under. So maybe the consensus on the Titans, probably was right. Maybe I conjured it a bit.
yeah, I feel like people like somewhat respect this team. I like this team.
All right.
Let's get you college.
Let's talk real ball.
football.
Let's talk real ball.
Fucking fools.
Down 13.
All right,
going
see
to
y'all later.
4.
Have a good day.
Jeez.
Let me set up for 2 people.
All right.
Leave my name as prop beaver. People will come in very disappointed.
A quarterback drafted with the number 1 overall pick hasn't won a week 1 game in 22 years.
Oh, then the Titans might win now.
2 years. Andrew, Winky was not even alive the last time that happened. You're 21, right, Andy?
Yep.
Weren't even alive. Wow.
I was bad luck for rookie quarterbacks, I guess. Crazy.
Fabiano in the comments, Patriots are better than the Titans. No contest.
Defense is better, but
I don't know. The Titans defense.
Come on.
I think I'd trust Will Levis more than the situation going on in New England.
All right.
You're going to have to make Andy bigger.
He looks like a midget.
All right. Move him down a little bit too. There, yeah. All right. So first up, we have you at the UTSA up first. Okay.
UTSA up first.
Sure. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter the order we go in. UTSA is fine. All right. UTSA. All right. Jeff Traylor back for his 5th season as head coach. Both coordinators are back. 84th in returning production, 14 returning starters, 7 on each side. This team went 9-4 last year, 7-1 in conference. Frank Harris is gone. That's probably the lead story here with UTSA. Quarterback Frank Harris is gone. He's been the quarterback here for 4 years and change. So this has been a Frank Harris-led offense for many moons. So this is going to be the first year in a while that we're looking at this UTSA offense without Frank Harris in it entering the season. The kid that's taking over looks like it's going to be Owen McGowan. He did make one start last year and actually wasn't bad. He won the bowl. He played in the bowl game against Marshall. They won that game 35-17. He had 251 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he did throw 2 picks. And to be honest, they probably would have won that game by 3 or 4 scores if it wasn't for the picks. But still, he wasn't bad. He also came in on the road at Tennessee. This is at Tennessee, 18 of 20, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. But when he came into the game, it was 31-0 Tennessee already. Yeah. So he came into the game in the second half against Tennessee's second unit, which still, I mean, we're talking about SEC top-level second unit, so it's still impressive. But, yeah, he did it against the second unit. So it looks like that's going to be the starting quarterback. Top 3 running backs are back for UTSA, so that's solid. Their top wide receiver is gone, Cephas. He's on the Jags now. Actually, he's in the NFL. But here's the thing. So, yes, they lost Cephas to the NFL. They lost their number 2 receiver, but that kid, JT Clark. So, JT Clark, you could have made the argument that he should have been wide receiver 1 last year. He missed the entire season. He had 2 separate surgeries. So, they lost their top 2 receivers, but wide receiver 1 last year probably should have been JT Clark, who missed the entire season with injuries, and he's back. So, JT Clark is there. I believe they added a couple guys through the portal as well. So I don't think the drop off at wide receiver is as extreme as you think, or as you would think from a first glance. The wide receiver, they should be okay. They got 4 starters back on the offensive line, which is obviously huge. So my overall thoughts of the UTSA offense is a lot of people are going to look at it. They're going to see Frank Harris is gone at quarterback, and their main 2 receivers are gone. I'm saying that's a little bit smoke and mirrors. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll score a lot of points. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. With McCown, I mean, quarterback's in his blood already. He's Josh McCown's son, so this guy knows how to play quarterback. The issue they think they're going to have with him, and I read up on their situation, 2 starts, 3 interceptions. They do think he's going to struggle throwing interceptions, or 2 games where he played high impact, or I guess a lot of snaps. He threw a lot of interceptions in that ratio of time. Like you said, I love running back for them. Multiple 450-plus yard rushers. That's huge. I agreed with you. Minimal wide receiver drop because they brought in J.J. Sparkman, DJ Allen, 2 pretty good wide receiver transfer pickups. And like you said, O-line is very experienced. So I think this offense is going to be, like you said, a little bit worse than they were last year. But that's just because they had a guy who had literally been there for his entire college career. So I think
absolutely
the drop will be small, if not even there.
Agreed. So I think we both agree that UTSA Roadrunner offense will be fine and they'll be scoring points. On the other side of the ball, I mean, the UTSA defense is never anything that has wowed me. They lost a couple pieces on the defensive line, but they should be good. They lost a couple linebackers, but they brought in a couple kids. They actually brought in a kid from Alabama. They brought in a kid from Louisiana Tech, so they should be good there. They lost 5 pieces in the secondary, 3 of them starters. So I guess you could say the secondary is a question mark for UTSA. But the thing is with this defense, I don't even know if they're really any good. As they didn't get absolutely gutted. The secondary took some hits, but I'm not a UTSA defense guy to begin with.
Yeah. No, numbers wise, last year this team actually was better on defense, which was surprising to me when I saw it. But I'm really not worried about much other than the secondary. Like you said, they're returning a pretty good amount up front. Their secondary, like you said, got gutted, and they brought in a bunch of transfers, and basically they're just gambling on those guys hitting. I mean, if they don't hit on those transfers, then this team will probably get thrown on a lot in a pretty good quarterback conference, especially with the other teams atop this conference, knowing what's going to happen at quarterback. There's USF has Brown. We're going to talk about Memphis. They have Hennigan. If they want to compete, they need Owen McCown to step up, but they also need their defense to step up. Their secondary has to be these transfers have to hit.
Their defensive numbers, I was surprised. I'm surprised. After I said that, I'm looking. Their defensive numbers are great from last year, but UTSA is not branded as a defensive team, though. I mean, even though, most of Frank Harris's tenure with them, they were an offensive team that scored a bunch of points. How many games did Frank Harris miss last year?
I want to say it was just all toward the end of the season, right?
I'm looking it up now. He played in 10 games, which means he missed 3.
Actually, they were all early in the season.
He missed 3 games. And you know what it is with some of these teams like UTSA that run a faster pace? They're 11th in the country in pace. They have the Texas Tech effect where you see their final scores and you assume they have a bad defense, but they just run 90 plays a game. So it makes like you see a final score that's, let's see right here, 49-21. And you assume that there was no defense played, 37-29. But if each team ran 90 plays, then maybe there was some good defense. So shame on me for putting down the UTSA defense when they actually have some nice looking metrics here from last year.
Yeah.
But that's why we do these streams, right? This is all refreshers. But the secondary did get gutted in all seriousness. So there's no way the pass defense doesn't take a step back. All right. Owen McCowan, we did. All right, let's look at the schedule. And I can almost guarantee I'm not making a bet on this one.
Yeah, the number, I don't like the number. I think for a team with a young quarterback, I think the number kind of is a little high. And I mean, if you look at their non-conference, like you can understand it.
Well, they're almost chalk them up as 2-2 after 4, right? No matter what. Like,
definitely.
I mean, I guess they could go into Texas State and then beat.
Yeah, the hype will be very high for Texas State that game, though. It's gonna be a tough place to play.
Yeah, I wonder what the line will be in that one. Do you think Texas State will be favored?
No, UTSA will be favored in that game, but by maybe 3 points. It'll be very close. I would say Texas State's going to win it, but I think people will expect a lot from UTSA early. But we're going to find out week 1 because if he comes in and has a stinker against Kennesaw State, then nobody's going to trust his team week 2.
If Texas State is catching 3 points at home to UTSA, I think they'll be the most publicly bet underdog on the board.
Damn right. Well, they're going to be one of the most public teams coming into the season anyway.
Yeah, everyone loves Texas State. I mean, for good reason. We talked about them already. All right, so 2-2 heading into ECU. That should be a win. Mm-hmm. ECU's better, though, and ECU historically, I like betting ECU at home. I'll never forget that NC State game where I took them. I had them like plus 14.5. They almost won the game outright. Mm-hmm. So ECU at home is a team I can get behind. So that's still a toss-up. I mean, you think they win. At Rice is tough. We're about to talk about Rice. They got everybody back. I think that's a loss.
Yeah, that's probably a loss. I think their first conference one will be at home against FAU.
They'll win that.
They'll win that one, and then Tulsa, they should go on.
They'll win that.
Tulsa. That
Memphis is a loss.
That November 2nd game is going to be brutal for them.
But we have them at 4 wins with a possible 5th going into Memphis. That's a loss.
Do you get 3 in a row?
You can.
I think you get 3 in a row.
I think you get 3 in a
Temple
row.
And Army, but that puts you at 8.
So I have it with 7 with a possible 8, which means you can put under up for me.
I'm gonna also go under, which is plus 130. So.
I think it's likely that they land on 8, but if you can get an 8.5, can you get an 8.5? Hold on, let me look it up.
That was probably a week ago. I did.
Yeah. Oh, when you did. All right, let's see if you can get
a lot of those all at the same time.
If you can get 8.5, 1 second. Where the heck? Here, regular season wins. UTSA. I don't see an 8.5. Let's see. Under. Yeah, you can get under 8 at plus 115 right now, or plus 130. I don't see an 8.5 available. I can search through some other sports books. An under 8.5 I'm cool with, but I would imagine that's going to be expensive. All right, cool. Let's go to a next team.
Tulsa, right?
Yeah. Tulsa. Prop beavers. All right, Tulsa. This will be a quick one. Not much to say here. All right. So we got Kevin Wilson back for his 2nd season at head coach. Same coordinators with them. His team went 4-8 last year, 2-6 in conference. They're 112th in returning production, just 4 returning starters on the defense. Right off the bat, we got to ask who's playing quarterback. Is it going to be Cardell Williams or Kirk Francis? Both those guys. Cardell Williams started the season as the quarterback. He played I think he started the first 6 games or so. Kirk Francis finished the season. So those 2 guys, depending on what website you look at, you could find different, each of them listed as the starter.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it might be Kirk Francis that gets the start, but really not sure. They also brought in that kid Cooper Lagos from Utah State too. So there's another guy thrown into the mix, although I don't think it's realistic that he starts. So yeah, we're quarterback carousel. I don't think we 100% know who's going to be the starting quarterback here. They do have their leading rusher back, Anthony Watkins. He's back at running back. They lost their RB2 and RB3, but their main guy's back. They also bring back both tight ends. As far as their receivers, they bring back both tight ends. They brought in a kid from UTEP, kid from North Dakota. So wide receiver probably slightly improved this year, maybe. But who's throwing them the football is the main question. Now, here is the problem with Tulsa. That offensive line is crushed, gutted. They lost their 5 main pieces. There's only one returning starter, I believe. They brought in a kid from Cal to play tackle, but other than that, there's just a lot of question marks on the offensive line. Makes it tough to put any faith in Tulsa. And the reason that's a problem is this offensive line was good last year. It was one of the strengths of the team. They had a solid offensive line last year. And if you take away that, this team went 4-8 last year with a good offensive line, or with a solid offensive line. What do they look like with a bad offensive line, especially when they haven't addressed the issues at quarterback, or they haven't seemed to address it? So yeah, I don't really know how much I can get behind Tulsa's offense without an offensive line. If their offensive line, they won 4 games last year. If their offensive line takes a step back, even a slight step back, they might win 3. So I'm not big on the Tulsa offense. On the other side, okay, the defense, all right, they lost a lot of pieces on the defense, but the defense was also terrible. This was by far the weakest spot of the team last year, was Tulsa's defense. They lost their top 3 defensive linemen, including both D tackles. They're super inexperienced on the defensive line. They also got gutted at linebacker, but from what I'm reading, they did bring in 3 linebackers that they like through the portal. So even though they lost all the linebackers, their defense was terrible last year, and they bring in 3 new pieces. Who's to say that maybe they're upgraded at linebacker? I don't know. I don't know the names. I read them, who transferred in, but they're not people I'm familiar with. So I'm reading that they like him, though. 4 of their top, secondary. 4 of their top 7 defensive backs do return, but they lost their main guy, Kendron Ray, who was their safety. He led the team in tackles, first team all conference. He was the best player in their defense last year. He's gone. But they did bring back 4 of their 7 D-backs other than him. So the defense was terrible last year. Doesn't look to be much improved this year. I would say we can chalk Tulsa up for another year of bad defense. Same DC. Is there anything here to lead us to believe that Tulsa's defense won't be bad again?
No, my read on this team was the offense was dropping a lot. Not knowing who your quarterback is very concerning when everybody else in your conference has a pretty good idea and has pretty good quarterbacks. So I hate their offense. And defensively, they lost a lot. That losing your top safety is very hard. Top tacklers. I really don't like this defense. My read was basically, if they were gonna improve because of transfers, it wasn't gonna be enough to the point where I liked them. I really don't like this team. I don't really have much on them because it doesn't seem like they added anything that's going to make them a significant contender in this conference. They're preseason ranked 12th in this conference, so there's nobody really expecting them being too good.
And I don't like their non-con either. They go to Arkansas State, which, I mean, if this Ryan 2 years ago, that's a win, but that might be a loss at Arkansas State with the quarterback and what they're doing over there. So that's probably a loss. They also have Oklahoma State. I don't know if you're seeing what's going on the screen in front of us, Andy. USA came all the way back. It's 84-82.
Oh, my God. Let's go.
Yeah, for those of you that aren't watching the USA basketball game, we have it on in the background. They were just down like 16 in the second half to Serbia. This is the semifinals, too. So they're coming all the way back on Jokic. Durant just stripped Jokic of the ball. 3 minutes to go there.
Yeah, they're non-conference.
We'll give you a play-by-play if anything happens. How about that? Yeah, so let's open up their schedule, and we're looking at 1 and 2 almost definitely after 3 games.
Yeah, they're also going to La Tech. That's probably a loss.
Dude, Sonny Cumbie.
That's what I'm saying. There's probably a loss.
Happy
birthday, Sonny Cumbie, by the way.
Is it his birthday?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they could beat Sonny Cumbie.
I don't know if they're going on the road and beating La Tech. No, I don't like that.
How about this? We'll give them one of the La Tech North Texas games. Or do you think they'll win them both?
I would say that's probably right because they're not.
They'll win one of those games. They're not going to drop both. Yeah. I mean.
They could very
North Texas is going to score.
I really don't think they're winning that game.
All right, so let's just say 2 and 3 for argument's sake after 5, after the North Texas game. Home Army win.
Yeah, they beat Army.
That's 3.
Temple's a win.
Temple win. 4 and 3. Your home UTSA loss. At UAB loss.
That's a loss. ECU is their best chance at a win after
that. This is under.
Yeah.
Under us up, prop even.
Bad football team. This is a bad football team.
Yeah, this is not a good team. Under it up. In fact, I think there's a chance they could land on 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, under 4.5 Tulsa.
How about Oklahoma? Why is Oklahoma State going to them? That's an interesting. That's a weird home game for them.
Well, let's see. Did they play last year?
No, Oklahoma State's played South Alabama. They're non-conference.
That is a strange one. But, all right, let's move on to the next team.
Oh, here we go.
They keep getting probably just wants more airtime. All right, Memphis Tigers. Andy's very big on this team, and with good reason. I'll let him do most of the talking. But just a quick preface here: Memphis looks very good on paper. You bring back Ryan Silverfield, 5th season as head coach, same offensive coordinator. They did lose the DC to Mississippi State. How?
Yeah, I don't know how he got that job.
Yeah, if you don't follow it, Memphis defense was terrible last year, and their defensive coordinator got an SEC job. This was a very offensive centric team. I mean, the offense is very good. They bring back their quarterback, Hennigan. Kid can throw the football for real, and he's back. They did lose 2 wide receivers, but they added pieces. I mean, this is an offense that was 13th in yards per play, 19th in success rate. Well, that's their passing offense. One of the most dangerous passing attacks in the FBS, and you could throw some Power 4 schools in there. I mean, Hennigan could sling the ball. They also brought in at running back. They brought in South Carolina's guy, Mario Anderson. They brought in a South Carolina running back. Andy, why do you leave South Carolina to play at Memphis?
I have no idea. I told you before, it's probably because of money. I think Memphis could probably make a similar offer to South Carolina, and Memphis clearly wanted to upgrade at running back. So that would be the reason. And South Carolina's always got running back. They have running backs coming in every year that are pretty good. So he probably just didn't expect much playing time this year. And this was probably just a situation where he got a lot of money to go to Memphis. So yeah, that was probably that.
Are you worried? Because obviously you've vocalized several times during these previews that you think Memphis is going to be really good. Are you worried about the offensive line? They lose 4, but they bring in a ton of pieces. It's a brand new offensive line.
Yeah. So the way that it's interesting, because some sites they'll put starters, but they'll also then put starts. So this team lost starters, but their transfer portal, they're bringing in guys that have started 128 games. So that's a pretty good chunk of experience for this O-line. So I'm not really worried about the O-line. They have experienced enough there, and obviously I think the people behind them are good enough. I think their offense is going to be a Memphis offense. They're going to light the scoreboard up every single game. That is what they do. Hennigan's going to go crazy. I think he's one of the top 15 to 20 quarterbacks in the country. Thought he might leave Memphis, to be honest with you, for a better quarterback job. Didn't. Credit to them. He knows that this team probably, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, probably the favorite out of this conference. If there is a team that goes to college football playoff, it would be them. So I like that this offense is Memphis. They're going to be great.
By the way, while Andy was talking, Steph Curry hit a 3 to take the lead, and then LeBron stole it. They're up 3, and now USA is up 5 with 1:40 left. Looks like USA will be going to the finals here.
Hell
yeah. So real quick before we get to the schedule, if you are looking to fade Memphis this year, look no farther than the defense. Not only was this defense bad last year, defensive line, they lost 6 of their top 8. The linebacker and secondary, okay. I mean, maybe they even improved, but still, they lost their new DC, and the defensive line got gutted. So I find it hard to believe that Memphis defense, maybe it takes a step forward because it was so bad last year, but I find it hard to believe that they're all of a sudden a much improved defense.
Yeah, this team's going to get run on like crazy. Their run defense was bad last year, and like you said, they lost a lot up front. This is a bad run defense. Maybe they have to improve at the pass defense. I'm looking at the numbers: 116th in YPA and effective EFFP. They were 122nd. These numbers suck. Pass defense. They can only improve there, and they're all red through run defense. I don't like this defense at all. This is a typical Memphis defense. They don't care about.
All right, let's look at the schedule. Memphis. God damn it! Where the heck's Memphis?
It's actually pretty easy.
All right, Memphis schedule. Here it is. All right, ready? North Alabama win. Troy with the new coaching staff win. At Florida State lost.
That'll be a good game, but no.
No, it won't.
I think it'll be good.
We'll get routed. At Navy's a win.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee home win. Out South Florida.
I think they're losing to South Florida.
Yeah,
I said
okay.
yes.
So that's 4-2.
Mhm.
Home North Texas. They should win, but North Texas, I mean, that's going to be a 45-42 game.
High scoring game, but yeah, I think North Texas wins that. I think they win back to back there because they're not.
Wait. You're saying Memphis wins it?
Yeah, Memphis.
Okay, so that puts them at 5-2 going into Charlotte, which should be a win.
6-2.
6-2 at UTSA, probably a win, right?
Yeah.
Close game, but they should win.
Yeah, I think the Rice one's gonna be. We're about to talk about them.
7-2.
7-2.
Rice is going to be a good game.
Yeah,
Rice should be good. We're about to talk about them. UAB loss.
What? No, UAB's a win. They're beating UAB.
How about this? They drop one of the Rice or UAB games.
Sure. Yeah.
So that puts them at 3 losses. That's 8-3 heading into Tulane on the road.
I don't want to sound stupid and say that like after October 11th they should win out because it's so unlikely that that happens. But after October 11th they should probably win out. Like
no way.
They should.
You got
beat
Rice,
all these
UAB,
teams.
Tulane all in a row. You think they could lose out, bro?
No, they're not losing to UAB.
It'd only be under for me.
They
HJ.
might put up a 60 spot on UAB's defense.
UAB's defense is going to be better than Memphis defense.
No, that's going to be an ugly one.
I put under
forward to
for
that
me because I think it's most likely they land on 9.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I would say over.
Hold on, you can get this graphics is 9.5. Can you get a 9.5?
Again, this was probably a week ago, but I would say I would lean over because I think they could.
You can get an under 9.5. It's minus 180 though.
Yeah.
I think it's most likely they land on 9, but I think 8 is more likely than 10.
Yeah, there'll be a sleeper coming out of if they're able to pull that upset at South Florida. This will be a sleeper for the college football playoff because they have the schedule to back it up.
All right, what's next? We got one more team, right? It's Rice.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk Rice, and this is a good one. This should be cool. Okay, so let's get up to Rice.
Be a good team.
I'm going to let Andy talk about Rice, but there is a lot to like here. First of all, Mike Bloomgren back for his 7th season as head coach, and you could make a strong argument. In fact, I don't even think this is a hot take. This is going to be the best team he's had with his tenure there. You got same coordinators underneath them. They're 5th in the country in returning production. 5th in the country in returning production, including 1st on defense. No team in the FBS brought back more of their production on the defensive side of the ball than Rice. And here's what's crazy. So not only do they bring back so much of last year's team, but the one position they lost quarterback, which was JT Daniels. So you're like, oh, they're screwed. They lost the most important position. They brought in EJ Warner. I'm not saying EJ Warner's an upgrade, but you can make an argument. EJ Warner was playing at Temple last year and putting up video game numbers. So EJ Warner on this Rice team with that offensive line that's mostly back, that defense that wasn't really good last year, but they brought everyone back and have the same DC. This team could be really good.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. You said that it's an argument. I don't think it's an argument. JT Daniels was not good last year. I mean, there was a game at home against UConn. He pretty much single-handedly lost them that game. I mean, he was not anything special last year. And DJ Warner was, like you said, video game numbers: 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 12 picks. Those are really, really good numbers at Temple. I mean, Temple wasn't awful. I mean, we talked about Temple yesterday. I think the video was like 3 minutes long because they're that bad. But he put up great stats there. So football also in his blood. He's Kurt Warner's son. So quarterbacks with football in their blood. But also their top running back, 1,000-yard season last year. He's back. 3 out of 4 top 4 receivers. They're back. Great O-line transfers too. I mean, I love this offense, and that's not even the side that I think you're most excited about. I think their offense is going to be great. The other side, also number 1 in defensive returning production, is great for them as well. So that's huge. Their D-line's huge. They brought in a Dartmouth transfer that's a big pickup. 1st and 2nd in the Ivy League Player of the Year vote last year. I mean, that's huge. Those are huge transfers they brought in. So I love what this team did, not only bringing guys back, but bringing guys in. So this is a really, really good team.
And something I like is I was considering laying 10.5 points with Rice in week 1 right now. They're home against Sam Houston State, and Sam Houston, granted, they weren't nearly as bad as their record indicated last year, but they play in Conference USA. How many NFL caliber quarterbacks are they seeing last year. I mean, those kids, some of them they still have a lot of FCS kids, although they brought in transfers and it's that's not so much true anymore. But how many of the kids on that defense have seen an NFL caliber quarterback? I mean, I think EJ Warner is at least fringe NFL guy.
Oh yeah, he's still young, I think, right? He has another year after.
Yeah, he's another year after this.
Yeah, so I think he'd probably be a guy that could make a NFL roster one day, and that's something Sam Houston hasn't seen. I think that's the one thing. I think you said it yesterday. Going through these teams, we started with Sam Houston. I think it was the first day we did games. Had we gone through everybody, we would have looked at their schedule and been like, oh, Rice is a loss. I think I said that they were going to be a win. But now we've looked at these teams and like,
oh, no, well,
Rice
I said loss. I had
team.
Sam Houston as under.
Yeah, we were very high on Sam Houston. We're still high on them, but when you look at I bet if we asked Scoop, he would also say he's still high on them. But when you look at these teams, like, that's probably a loss, and that's probably a game that Rice could cover 10.5. Like,
I think I'm going to bet that right now.
Yeah, I think that's a game. That's a lower
You got
number.
Sam Houston State going on the road into Rice to play not only a fringe NFL quarterback, but you got returning OC, returning offensive line, returning running back, returning receivers. I mean, this is going to be a good offense, a better offense than Sam Houston State saw all of last year, with the exception of maybe Liberty.
Yeah, I agree. That's why, like, their non-conference is pretty easy overall, but like that game to start the season should be a pretty easy. Not easy, but it'll be manageable. And then obviously week 2 is gonna be a cakewalk,
or certainly a Rice team total over.
Yeah, that game.
What's
overall,
the total? You know, I know we're not doing week 1 right now.
Oh, you mean total for the game?
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're not doing week 1 right now, but I'm curious. I'd like to see a total.
I think every week 1 line is out. USA won.
Most of them are, yeah. 48.5.
That's not a bad number.
So that means with a 10.5 point spread, Rice's team total is going to be about 29.5, which sounds about right. What was Rice pace last year? Oh, they ran a slow pace last year, and they have the same OC, so maybe not that. Maybe we'll just do the.
Does Warner fit into that? What did Temple run last year? Because that was the system where he was successful. So
I'll plug in Temple. Let's see what
definitely has to look at that.
Temple was 34th in pace.
So he's run a fast pace.
Yeah, okay. So Warner ran a much faster pace last year at Temple, but I mean, I don't know how much that moves the needle.
I think when you recruit a guy, do you tell him like, hey, we're going to speed up the pace for you because that's what you're comfortable in? Or do you tell him like, no, you're going to slow your ass down? I don't know.
I guess predicting the pace for, I would say, the quarterback molds to the offensive coordinator. He probably transferred there for a reason because he thinks this guy can help him. Yeah. So that's what I would think, at least. So yeah, I like Rice, and we can look at the schedule, but I can almost tell you I'm going over here. But they do play a difficult schedule. You got to.
Their non-conference is easy. I don't like their conference schedule. If you look at something, they play.
They could start 5-1. 2 of
the top 3 teams they play on at home, which is good. So that's definitely good. They play USF and UTSA on the road, or at home. Memphis on the road is gonna be tough. Tulane's not an easy team to play on the road. UAB is not an easy team. So those are tougher road games, but. I think the non-conference kind of wins it for me. That's why I'm on their over. I think their non-conference is so weak because, they're going to win against Sam Houston. I think we've made that clear. Texas Southern's going to be a cakewalk, and they're going to beat Connecticut. Connecticut beat them last year. That's a revenge game.
Yeah, and they're going to beat Navy.
They're far better than they were last year.
This is over, yeah.
And Army. They're probably going to beat Army. That game at Army, but still, that's a tough place to play. So really, what do we need? We need them to win, like, what? 2 of the Charlotte, UTSA, Tulane, Memphis, UAB. Yeah, this is
over. Unfortunately, you can get a 6.5. Oh, you can get a 7 at plus 120. Let's see if we can find an 8th win. I honestly think that they could realistically start 5-1 with 1 loss at Houston. And by the way, Houston.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Houston is not going to.
No, but they brought in the new coach. They're going to be better. That's
the thing. I don't think they're going to be better.
But their defense was so bad that, like, is it crazy to think Rice goes in there and puts 35 points on them? I don't think that's
Fritz,
crazy.
Right? They hired Willie Fritz, right?
Yeah.
That's a situation that's going to be tough this year. So that could be a winnable game.
Well, I think, okay, so 5-1 after 6 games.
Yeah.
UConn, Navy, that's 7. You beat UAB or Florida, you're at 8. Yo, I might take that over 7 at plus 120.
Yeah, I think the last 3 games are going to be brutal, but if they could steal one of them, like you said, that's 8. I think the most stealable one is UAB, as much as you love them. They're easily the worst of those 2.
No, they'll lose that one. But they could beat South Florida.
They can't beat South.
All right.
Not for me. Not when I have them 10-2. They can't beat South Florida.
That's the last team, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks everyone for watching. I know most of you are probably watching this days from now because we're broadcasting this while shit's going on. So I doubt many people are watching this live. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.